we're going to get into the age of politicians these days. Okay, I'm sure everybody is very upset to hear that everyone's favorite politician, Mitch McConnell, is now going to be retiring come November. And Mitch McConnell's had a rough 2023. Do we have the article about what he announced, by the way, before we play that amazing video from Mitch McConnell? So he's going to step down he's been the Senate majority or even minority leader for the last 20-something years. But unfortunately, his entire legacy has been tarnished in the last 12 months with videos like this. Do you have the actual video that, I'm scared. Recent video? See if you can play that one. Not from the article, from something else. So if you're not familiar with what's going on with McConnell, this is where we've seen McConnell lately. You have that video?
Running for re-election in 2026.
Oh, man. Oh, man.
You know it's sad.
He's adorable.
Did you hear the question,
so
Senator?
sad.
Running for re-election in 2026?
Oh, goodness. Poor thing. Put him to
All right,
bed.
I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator.
Oh, my goodness
Penny.
gracious. Yikes.
Yeah.
All right, let's go, Mitch. Come on.
All right, Mitch, time for bed, buddy. All right.
Night, night, night.
Oh, that's unfortunate right there. So, look, when you look at top politicians' approval ratings, thanks, Malik, Mitch McConnell's approval ratings, by the way, you know what they are right now? Take a guess.
Down the toilet somewhere.
Take
30%.
30%? What do you think?
No, I have to be like 15.
15? What do you think, Mitch McConnell?
I was going to guess around 30 to 20%.
20%?
Sure, I'll go 20.
Okay.
25.
22.
6%.
Poor thing.
Just to put in perspective,
That's bad.
just to put in perspective, Biden's approval rating is now 38%, some of the lowest we've seen on record. The lowest before him was Trump, which is currently at 42%. AOC's approval rating 16%, Bernie 20%, Pelosi 19%, and Mike Johnson, the name you know, not even on the board right there. But
Wait, AOC is... What polling is this? I feel like this has to be a right-leaning polling. There's no way AOC is 16%
We can
and
find
10
those
million
numbers
Twitter
for you.
followers. There's no way.
this is according to ChatGPT, and you know that they're never wrong.
Ah,
Or
it's
Gemini. right there.
Gemini weighed in.
Of course, it'd probably be higher
She's black
than
as well.
It's
But-
the beacon of truth.
You know, older leaders are running the world. We have this Wall Street Journal article saying that basically they're not going anywhere. 8 of the 10 most populous countries in the world are governed by leaders in their 70s or 80s. Here it is right there. We all know that guy right there. Xi Jinping of China is 70 years old. Putin of Russia is 71. The Sheikh Hasina of Bangladesh, I'm sure everyone's big fans of his, he's 76. Modi of India is 73. Mahmoud Abbas, who runs the West Bank of Palestine, 88 years old. Whereas Trump is 77, he's going to be 78 in the next few months. And everyone's favorite president, Joe Biden, is 81 years old. By the way, do you have the article of he just went through a physical? Let me know if you guys,
No way.
let me know what you think about this. Joe Biden just got a physical. He underwent his annual physical review at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, where he was pronounced fit for duty, y'all. Okay? I'm sure everyone's buying that. Biden's previous checkups labeled him, quote unquote, healthy and vigorous.
oh, yeah.
I'm sure he is. Public opinion
Got that early.
is a little mixed. Well, here we go. 67% of voters think he's too old to effectively serve 4 more years. And they pointed out that Ronald Reagan received a clean bill of health in 1998, only to later disclose that he had Alzheimer's. So we'll see what happens with Biden, all this. So I set this all to say, these older leaders who are running the world are going nowhere. And I think it's safe to say that whether Biden gets reelected, he's going to be 82 by the time he gets reelected, or Trump will be 78, putting them as the oldest leaders in American history. We're seeing what's going on with that. Last point right here. This is we're looping this all into the happy ending. Joe Biden, speaking of his age right now, I know that the last thing on your mind is wanting to hear what Joe Biden thinks about good sex, but unfortunately, that's where we are today. Joe Biden is going to let you know what he thinks about good sex, and this is the happy ending.
No thanks.
So the White House
Hold on,
correspondent revealed Joe Biden's views on sex during his golden years. An excerpt about Joe Biden's sex life is featured in the soon-to-be-released book, American Woman, The Transformation of the Modern First Lady from Hillary Clinton to Jill Biden. I'm sure you guys are all excited. Biden joked to his aides that good sex is the key to a lasting and happy marriage, much to his wife's chagrin. There's stories that in 2004, when Joe Biden went to potentially run for the presidency back then, Jill Biden would roll in to discourage her husband and wear a halter top and write the words no written on her stomach to encourage him not to run. So Mitch McConnell short-circuiting. Joe Biden fucks. I think that's what's going on here today. Donald Trump, 77, 78. I think whether you're a Trump fan or not, I think he's got a little more energy than Joe Biden or McConnell.
Eating his
And we see the rest of the world leaders from Xi Jinping, 70, Putin, 71, and Modi of India, 73. You know, our world leaders are senior citizens. They're old, they're gray, and this is what's going on. Tie this all together, where you see leadership around the world.
Well, I actually like the idea of old people being leaders. I think that throughout history we've had wise elders as our leaders. I think the problem more lies in the fact that they're not wise. They're elders, but they're not exactly wise. I think that these guys are the swamp creatures, if you want to use the Trumpism. These are the people who have been career politicians and who have come through sort of law and finance and served their buddies on the boards of arms companies until eventually they get to the top. So these are not necessarily the kinds of people that I would like to see at the top. However, I think that there is a light at the end of the horizon, in the sense that we're entering into somewhat of an age of the entrepreneur politician, somebody who's gone out and done it, who's conquered a certain industry and now wants to treat the country like a business. I quite like that. But the notion of a wise elder who sort of sits on his throne and has his council of people who do all of the work at ground level, I like that idea.
Okay.
I like him to have a nice ring that everyone can sort of come and kiss, and he can just
You want them to kiss the ring.
Lord of the Rings
just get
style.
fleeting.
Is it fair to say that you're most likely to vote for Joe Biden versus Donald Trump?
Well, I can't vote in the American election.
Okay, if you had a vote.
Oh, that's right.
Probably I'd vote for Biden right now, but that's not
Okay.
really out of a love for Biden, instead of like a concern for Trump more than
What's your
anything.
biggest concern with Trump?
Do you want me to talk about that?
We only
or
have a
old
couple
people?
minutes, so you know.
Okay, I had more
you're
thoughts
gonna
on
have
old
to
people
take
being
your,
in power.
CVS receipt and
I don't
condense it.
like electing people who are willing to basically like toss the Constitution away. I think like Mike Pence standing up and like basically refusing.
Judas.
Yeah, I mean he's a staunch Republican and he was constitutional. I think what Trump was asking for was anti-constitutional. I'm not like super deranged about January 6th. I don't think it's like this crazy thing that's like the worst thing that's ever happened in America. But I
It
definitely
happened in Brazil a few months after that. Nobody
Yeah.
even talks about that.
Well, we only care about America. But if I could maybe shift back to old people leading, I think most of the people that are leading now, wise elders were good when there wasn't lead in gasoline for their entire life. And we know that they have plaque in their
water.
brain, they don't know what they're thinking about, and they can't process. And the problem is they're probably mentally sound, but I do psychometric testing. I do IQ tests. I can tell you the neuropsychological health of an 80-year-old at average is like 2 deviations below a 60-year-old. So I don't really care if he's healthy for 80 or 77. He's still not what I would prefer leading, which is like around 60 to 50-year-olds like cognitive ability. So I'm really sussed out about having all these old people, especially that grew up in lead. I just like not interested.
It's crazy to me that in 1992, a 46-year-old Bill Clinton was elected president, okay? And he is younger than Trump and Biden. A little food for thought. How old is your abuela and your abuela?
Oh, my grandparents are old.
How
And I don't
old?
want them as president.
How
no,
old?
My, 87 and
Okay.
80.
Now, would you be okay with your abuela running for president?
Absolutely
Okay.
not.
But they're running the
that's-
world these days.
Yeah, but not because of her age. That's just, yeah, she's forgetting things. No. That's different.
Well,
I'm not
there's a lot of
anti-
people that are
Good
forgetting
answer.
these days
Yeah.
that are running the world.
Yeah, no, I'm not anti wisdom in the age, but Vivek said this, and I really liked it. I like the idea of he says it all the time, fresh legs. I like the idea of somebody that their best days are ahead of them, in that there's something to look forward to. I like this idea also just in business and like hiring people that are younger, that are still ambitious and they're still going for a goal. Now that doesn't mean that they don't have this really strong, counsel around them and cabinet and people that are speaking wisdom into them, because I don't want them to think because the other thing about youth is I think I know it all. That's not cute, but that there's still this level of ambition. I'm trying for something as opposed to my best days are behind me and this is I'm coasting on the way out. So that's what I would say about that, but it's not necessarily the age. It's
Dangerfield, you know, you learned a lot from your grandma when she was running around with Rodney back in the day.
Oh, me,
Your
Ma.
thoughts on how all of the world's leaders are 70 plus?
What's the average life expectancy? 70.
78, but you know, if you're healthy, you could live to 100.
No,
no problem
exactly.
These days.
Well, that's the point that I was going to make. I mean, on the balance of probability, maybe what the average life expectancy is, maybe we should kind of keep that into consideration as well. People are going to be dying midterm, you know, let alone their mental state. But I think at the end of the day, it comes back to how well you take care of yourself. Now, one thing that I can say is that physical health sometimes starts with mental health and what goes on internally. And when you compare Trump and Biden, only like a 4-year age difference, it really shows you what the woke mind virus does to rot you from the inside out, in my personal opinion.
Or just too much
and I'm
ice
being
cream.
funny, but I'm also being kind of serious at the same time. And I'll
for
leave
sure,
it there.
for sure.
Nat, final thoughts.
No, I
About
agree.
to have an old ass president, one way or another.
No, I agree. But even if right now we're in a point, I kind of also do like the idea of having someone older and you know, they have that wisdom. But you know, today we're not really finding that. I do understand that because, like, you know, my dad's not in his 70s, but I look at him as someone who is able to provide wisdom. You know, so there is that comfort level. Now, I do think, you know, let's not forget, you also have a team. You know, you can also have some young experts with that energy ahead on the team. So you don't necessarily need the top guy to be the youngest of the team. I also don't want the youngest guy leading the pack either, if you want me to be honest. But at the end of the day, it also does come down to what Amy said, which was how do you take care of yourself, right? What is your mental? You know, how do you, your physical, like, are you sleeping during the interview? Like, there's a lot of aspects to it, but let's not forget, there's also the importance of a team. Right? Who is part of your team? Imagine you have a young guy leading, but there's a whole bunch of sleeping people behind him because they're old. That also doesn't do us any good either.
Right.
So I think it's just a mixture of things, but that's my feedback.
Well, let me
there.
give you my final thoughts. And I come from the life insurance world, the financial world, and the cornerstone of what we do is called life expectancy.
Right.
And there's ratings, how they rate your health. You can be 80 and in standard health, or you can be 80 and table 6.
I'm preferred health.
And just because you're old doesn't mean that you don't have your shit together. You can be old and healthy. There's a big difference with that. I try to remind people, just because you're 80 doesn't mean that you're dying tomorrow. You know, you could live to 100, but if you're 80 and you have dementia and you have a weak heart and you fall down a couple stairs, you might only have a couple years left. And that's the problem that we have. And we all know what happens when you're the president. We've seen the images of Obama. We've seen the images of Clinton. Somehow Trump is getting oranger and younger. I don't know how that's happening. That spray tan's working out for him. They come in office with 0 gray hairs. They leave office looking like they're from Lord of the Rings and they're Gandalf. It's a problem. But the conversation that we're going to have over the next 6 months, and Karl wrote about this, who was a Republican strategist, and the conversation that you guys are all going to have to decide. A lot of people have made up their mind, but it's really on the independents. And of course, this has to do with age, is which is worse and what you're going to vote for, feeble, old Joe Biden or angry, old Donald Trump? And that is the question that everyone is going to have to answer come November, except for Kyla, except for Jake, except for Amy, because they're not even American citizens. So
I'll vote for you.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. If you like that one, click right here to watch the full SOSCAST. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.